Okay. Nancy,
Yes? We all set to go?
can you guys hear okay? That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right, so let's just say again, welcome to today's Cemetery Commission meeting on Thursday, November 24th, 2024. In accordance with the requirement of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast live over the Lunenburg Public Access channel on Facebook Live on the Public Access Facebook page, and will be uploaded to the Lunenburg Access YouTube app. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and those responsible anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may be in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. Public participation is encouraged and public comments may be welcomed during the committee members' discussions and the discretion of the chair. Please note during public comment that you have 3 minutes to give your public comment. Thank you. Is there any public comment on the cemetery? No?
You're cutting out.
Okay, is there any public comment by the public?
Sir? Did you want to talk, sir? Did you want to make a comment or anything? No? Okay. All set, Nancy.
Okay. All right, so we're going to jump right in. I know Carter has another meeting he has to get off to, and thank you, Carter. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to sit with us today. My apologies again that I'm not there, but I am here. If anyone has any questions, and like I said, I will continue with trying to do things on Zoom for as long as I have to be here in Maine. Carter, let's jump right in and let's talk about this eminent domain issue and project that we're looking into and that the town could do. Can I pass that over to you and you explain to us how you would like to move forward with that?
So my understanding is a bit limited based upon my conversation with some folks and with town council. It's my understanding that there is a cemetery that has been located and that the Historical Commission has urged the town and its cemetery commission to take ownership and responsibility for that plot. Is that accurate? Okay. I think that how this needs to be done has been fairly well laid out in a memorandum from council. I don't know if that's been shared with the cemetery commissioners and with Mr. Bernard. If not, I will make sure that that gets forwarded. This found cemetery, for lack of a better term, is on private land. You must either obtain an easement to maintain it in perpetuity, or you must obtain actual title to it. That easement could be voluntarily granted, or it could be acquired by eminent domain. The determination as to whether it would be voluntarily granted would be up first to the property owner themselves, and subsequently, because there is a mortgage on the property, you would have to obtain the approval of the mortgaging entity. They want to make sure that the property, once encumbered by this easement, still has sufficient value to protect their underlying mortgage. So if you own a property and own the bank $500,000, let us say, and the property's worth $625,000, they're at 80% loan to equity and they're happy. Now let's say you give me an easement to go through your property to get to a back lot or something else, and the property all of a sudden only becomes worth $500,000 because of the encumbrance upon the land. the bank is going to say, wait a minute, I just went from having a property, a mortgage that was worth only 80%, so I can go into foreclosure if I have to and feel very comfortable in getting the land back. And then they'll say, but wait a minute, now all of a sudden I'm at 100%. I'm perfectly even, Stephen. That's risk. I don't want the risk. So no, you cannot give that easement away. In this instance, you have to take it by eminent domain. There's a process that has to be gone through. There is correctly identifying the very specific lands you want, the proposal for the survey that Mr. Bernard has obtained. Then Select Board, Cemetery Commissioner, Town Meeting has to approve that action. But I do have to ask one question before we get into all of the mechanics and spending dollars on this. Has this Cemetery Commission voted they wish to accept this responsibility? And have they had that discussion with the Select Board to determine it wishes to accept that responsibility and is willing to put forth the warrant article to carry this out? Once that determination is made, now we can get deeper into the mechanics of it. The other thing I would suggest is that we try to get that done. If you have not already done that, have we done that step?
Nancy?
No.
No.
That's been my point all along with Cemetery Commission Chair, is that this, again, has to go exactly what you just said, Carter. It has to methodically go through the process, and I felt like we hadn't, and the Cemetery Commission I did not want us liable until we know what is going on and what the best, and understanding that it happened by town, by select board, by the manager, that we're going forward in this.
So I don't want to say
So we
charging
have
ahead.
voted nothing.
Okay, so I shouldn't use the term charging ahead, but proceeding ahead. I do think it would be worthwhile for the Cemetery Commission to take a formal vote. I believe the Historical Commission has taken a formal vote. Is that correct, Mr. McGrath? Okay. So we get those formal votes, we put them in a memo, and we have a representative of the Historical Commission and the Cemetery Commission meet with the Select Board, and I would target December 3rd for that. And let me tell you why I target December 3rd. You want money. The Select Board has money. It's a term I wish I'd never heard of, but it's called ARPA. There's still some money on the table, and the Select Board might be willing to entertain a request for you to proceed with the needed survey to be paid for out of ARPA. So a meeting on December 3 could help determine whether or not the Select Board would be supportive of going forward, whether or not it would be supportive of placing that warrant on the article, and perhaps get you the relatively few dollars to undertake the work that's needed, saving, whether it comes out of the operating budget or trust funds, saving those local dollars. That is my recommendation to you. Happy to answer any questions, but I do think it moves the ball forward.
The December 3rd meeting, you're talking about the selectmen meeting?
Yes, sir.
Not okay.
Yes, sir. And I would need that packet of material because of the way Thanksgiving falls. I would actually need your vote by next, today if we have it, I would need the minutes quickly, even though they might be draft. And then when I prepare the agenda on, I actually forget which day I'm here next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, we could get that on their December 3rd agenda.
Could I interject quickly, though? I had looked, I was reviewing the Mass General laws around cemeteries, and in Chapter 114, there's a Section 18, and it says care of neglected burial places within town limits. And it says any town having within its limits an abandoned or neglected burying ground may take charge of the same and keep in good order, and may appropriate money therefore, but no property right shall be violated, and no body shall be disinterred, no fence, tomb, monument, or other structure shall be removed or destroyed, but the same may be repaired or restored. So I'm thinking that, somebody, of course, this has come up many times over the years of finding burial grounds on private property, and the Mass State Legislature has dealt with this, that has said the Cemetery Commission can go in and, improve on that, but they're not to take property. So my thought is that we don't need to acquire this property. We can have a conversation with the owner. Perhaps the survey is necessary to establish the exact bounds of the cemetery portion. If the owner does not carry a mortgage and owns it outright and would like to see the transfer of that partial, that to the town, that's fine. But I don't think, per this law, I'd like the town attorney to go back and look at this, and so we according to what I'm reading, we have the right to go in. Of course, I'd be cordial with the property owner and say, here's what we're looking to do.
Is there a mortgage on it though?
There is. So the operative phrases here are two. The first is that you may do it. You have yet to take a vote to do it. The second,
do what?
to care for this found cemetery. My understanding is you have yet to take a vote, a formal vote, on undertaking that action. The second important set of words is no property rights may be extinguished. So therefore, this property owner could let you on there, and the next property owner might not let you on there. So if indeed you wish to take care of this cemetery, and you wish to do it, for lack of a better term, in perpetuity, you need formal authorization that is long-term to be on that property. And that is by virtue of a right of access and an easement over the property to be maintained. So the property owner must grant that with the sign-off of of any lenders they have. Let me just say it, that's been a little bit, I think, since Adam took a look at that. Or you must acquire it in fee through property eminent domain. Or it could even be in fee with the permission of the bank. There's several different mechanisms to get it done. But it all starts with, does this cemetery commissioner wish to take care of this cemetery? And is it prepared to go through an on-again, off-again permission of the property owner?
Where does the title company get involved with this?
Title company would not get involved in this until the next owner goes to purchase the property and a title examination is done to protect the interests of the lender. Remember, title searches do not protect the buyer's interests. They protect the lender's interests. If the buyer wants title insurance to protect its own interests, they have to buy a separate policy. Now, I have to always put the proviso of unless they've recently amended the law. That is my understanding.
Well, I'd like to break it down into two things then, is do we wish to take charge for maintenance? And then the second would be how to pursue the property rights.
What your long-term vision is of responsibility.
My reading of this is we have perpetual rights to enter the cemetery portion of that property if we choose to take charge of it.
Subject to
I-
no property rights may be extinguished.
Right. To me, which the property rights is their deed to the property, not, we
You might be
can't-
right, but we do need to start with, does the cemetery commission, I think the way to break it down is exactly the way that you've laid it out. Step one, does this cemetery commission wish to take responsibility for this found cemetery? That's a vote, it's clean, it's neat, I like the way you've done that. The second question becomes, for what long term, and are you willing to endure the possibility that the next property owner says no, or that this property owner says no? We can work that out through legal, but knowing what your intent is would let us move forward.
So we need to vote on this before we even know if the town is interested in taking it?
I suspect that the select board would be unwilling to act without knowing the desires and intent of the cemetery commissioner. I suspect they would want your advice on this and what your position is.
Okay.
I've not always been perfect at reading the
So
book of
let me-
select boards.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Let me step back for a minute. So, Mr. Bernard, what is your take on maintenance, keeping this grass done, if we go forward and vote this, to go forward with this and give it the vote needed to accept this responsibility?
And how big of an area is this? Is it a quarter an acre? Is it less?
Yeah, so it's a small area. There's a bunch of trees. Grass may not grow there. We'd have to decide on a design. Are we going to put a fence, put shrubs? Are we going to put the monument back? It's all to be discussed.
Okay, so all you need is, again, Carter, what I'm hearing you say is, if we wish to go forward in this whole piece, all you need is for us to vote on this today to say yay or nay. Is that my understanding? And then we work out the next details, step 2.
I would suggest a two-part vote. The first is whether or not you wish to go forward at all. The second is whether or not you wish to go forward in perpetuity. And we would then get this in front of the select board to hear their thoughts and hear the advice of this commission and of the historical commission. I think truly that is the best way forward. And of course, to ask for the money to do the survey.
All right, so Dave and Michael, are you
I think I would like format a motion that, in accordance with,
comfortable?
in accordance with Mass General Law, I guess it's Chapter 114, Section 18, we would like to take charge of the family cemetery plot located on West Street Terrace. Is that sufficient? And then,
That's part one.
Yeah, I think that's sufficient.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that, in accordance with Mass General Law, what was that again? In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 114, Section 18, the Lunenburg Cemetery Commission would like to take charge of the family cemetery plot located at, what is this?
34.
34 West Street Terrace.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For clarification,
Okay,
will
we
the minute,
unanimously,
if I may ask a question, Madam Chair?
yes.
For clarification, will the minutes show that this is forevermore? This is not that the timeline is you wish to take charge of it forevermore.
Yes.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, as long as that's in the minutes for
Yes.
clarification.
Make
That's,
sure it's in the minutes.
okay,
yeah.
thank you. I will prepare a memorandum as soon as I can get even just the draft minutes. I will prepare a memorandum using the minutes of the Historical Commission. I think I located them. If not, Mr. McGrath can point me in the right direction using the minutes from this, and that will be before the Select Board on December 3, subject to the chairman does sign off on all the agendas. And I would ask that a representative of the Historical Commission, Mr. McGrath, and the Cemetery Commission be present that evening.
Okay. Could I ask,
Can I,
has the property owner been contacted, and are they in support of this and, working that plot to, improve it?
Bill, do you know
So-
the answer to that?
So we've talked to him, he sent me a couple of emails. I think he's open to us going in there, but he wants his property protected. He doesn't want to lose value. So,
I will invite that property owner to be present on December 3. And I think that, the Select Board, of course, would be very respectful of a property owner's concerns. But what I'm looking for on December 3 is a sense of direction. President Jefferson sent Lewis and Clark to a specific location. How they got there, he really wasn't quite so concerned with on that day-to-day basis. And with this vote here, the vote of the Historical Commission, and subsequently an indication of interest from the Select Board, we have our destination, and then we can start to work out about how we get through that in a way that respects everyone's concerns, from the care, the history, the maintenance, and the legalities. I think that can all be worked out,
How
hopefully.
far back are we going with how many people are there? Is it the Revolutionary War? Are we going to be putting a monument eventually there, like we have at the north and south? Are we going to be putting a gate around it? I'm just wondering how much it's going to get involved, even though we're taking it over. How much more are we going to do to it?
right, that's all future discussion. There's 6 graves that we know of.
6 only,
Right.
okay. So it's like
Right, do
Fish
we
Street.
want a fence? Do we want a hedge? Do we want whatever?
So it's like Fish Street, okay.
Yeah, a smaller area than Fish Street, yeah,
Is it? Okay.
yeah.
Did we use GPR to identify?
We did,
Okay.
right, we have that report.
Okay. So for the public's information, I'm told by Mr. Bernard that you used GPR, ground penetrating radar, to loop around the area to try to make sure that any bodies that were there were fully encompassed within the area we're talking about, and that there is a report on that. Have we put that online yet?
We have not.
We can put that online so that people can follow this as it develops, particularly if it should move forward to a vote at the annual town meeting. The more information we can provide the general public and get them understanding of what this is all about, I think the easier time the vote at town meeting would face.
Good.
Is there anything else we might do on that issue, Madam Chair?
So I just wanted to ask one question that you brought up. When this goes to a town vote, and what if we go all this work, Carter, and the vote comes back that they don't want to follow through with this? That's it at that point in time?
That is it at this point in time, subject to revisitation at any point in time by any subsequent cemetery board of selectmen and town meeting, of course. But yes, unless there's a different workaround. In the state I come from, no means no. If there's a no at the annual town meeting, that is it for 12 months, period, end of story. Here in Massachusetts, we can be much braver. We can face every decision over and over again.
So the next town meeting is in what, April, May timeframe, correct?
May, so we would be looking for warrant articles, I suspect. It'll be very, very late on my tenure with you here. We'd probably start to prepare warrant articles in mid to late January.
Okay.
My thought is though, right now, we have access to it. We've just voted to do that. It would be good to go the formal channels to get ownership of that, go to town meeting to get funds. But the other avenue might be use of, what specifically can we use the sale of lots fund? Well, sale of lots, we have to go to town meeting, but the perpetual care funds, or a gift fund. We have a gift fund. Could we ask residents, here's a plot, do you want to donate some money? So this is all downstream, so, but we could do other avenues, if the intent is just a small cleanup and improvement.
You know, I'm reminded of conversations with my former wife when I would ask her if she wanted to go on vacation, and she'd say, where, when, what are we going to do? And I would say, no, let's start with,
Right.
do you want to go on vacation? If the answer is yes, I'll start to work out the logistics.
Okay.
If the answer is no, I'm not going to worry about anything else. And so we would go through this sort of incrementally, step by step. And I think that you've identified and voted on the first step, which we'll now get in front of the select board for the second step, for their indication of willingness and interest. And then with Mr. Bernard, for the time I'm with you, with council, I think we can move forward. You might not get much farther than simply getting appraisal money at this annual town meeting. There is,
Sure.
depending upon the stance of the property owner and any lender that might be in place, you may not be able to get from point A to point Z all in one, Superman giant leap here. So let's determine if we want to go on vacation before we worry about anything else.
Do you know the location that we're talking about?
Yes.
You've been there.
Yeah, within 50 feet.
Nancy, have you been there on West Street? I have not.
No.
Okay.
No, again, because this was never pulled through until.
Well, I'm just
what-
concerned because of the open meeting law, but we're voting on this, if we should be able to at least go see what this is all about. We already took a vote, which is fine, but only one member knows the area.
I
I
do
don't-
need to notify the property owner tomorrow of this vote. I can't have them finding out. If you wish to forego the vote so that you can visit it, we can rearrange that differently.
But we have to
I think
wait.
Dave, I think we're making this too complicated. I'm trying to help, we're trying to help the town take that first step. Let's take the first step.
Okay,
I'm sure, again, we've got to trust what they've already seen. This has been going on for a while, my understanding is, and again, we weren't brought into it. Again, we are now, so let's take the first step. Let's take the leap of faith with Carter, with the organization of stepping forward in this and doing that first step. Then we can go and address everything else, because like Carter said, if the property owner, if anything happens at the town piece, we are not going forward if the town votes no.
that's fine, that's fine. As long as, before we take any more votes, at least we see what we're talking about. That's fine. Okay,
I'm sure that Mr. Bernard can obtain that permission and steer you to that location.
okay.
And Dave, how about we do this? How about Mr. Bernard does exactly what Carter just asked? Maybe, Mike, unless you don't feel comfortable, let Dave go there. I won't be there, so I can't. So I will trust Dave's judgment to go in, look at it with Mr. Bernard. Does that sound like a good plan? Does that make everybody okay
Sure.
with that?
Sure,
Go one-on-one, and there is no violation of the open meeting law.
okay.
Right. Is that okay, Mr. Bernard?
Yeah, that works for me. I can reach out to the homeowner and get his permission to walk out there.
Great.
And Bill, will you advise him of this vote?
I will do that too.
Thank you, sir.
That's
Okay.
where-
Oh,
That's where the grades are.
Let's go
Show
to the
me the
next
sheet.
piece.
okay.
About 20 feet. Uh-oh, did she cut out?
What happened?
Oh, she cut out.
Yeah,
Carter, should they also vote on the request for ARPA money?
I don't see where that would hurt. I don't think it's necessary, but I don't think that would hurt at all.
we lost,
Let's say 5,000, Bill?
what happened?
It
Yeah.
said that you ended the meeting. It said the host ended the meeting.
Yeah, it didn't, we didn't. How do we get back on?
You gotta start from scratch.
Okay, let's, hi there.
I need you to put the meeting because I just got kicked out.
Yeah, I know.
I got, so the next step is talk about the Fish Street. Just keep me on your cell phone.
Okay.
And talk about the Fish Street project. Look at Carter, and Carter will talk about.
You're on speaker.
Oh, okay.
You might want to delay it.
Okay, so Carter, let's go in that next piece, which let's talk about the Fish Street project.
It's not on the agenda.
Carter? Okay, you're all set.
I guess my only concern is, are we taking this up under cemetery capital funding projects? Because I'm not seeing Fish Street project on the agenda.
Right, because the Fifth Street was on, what I stated is that it was underneath, hang on one second.
I don't know the meeting ID.
It's under the, hang on, I'm looking. Discuss open items and upcoming projects. That's where I put that under. I just, again, just put a big blanket over upcoming projects.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
I always leave this to the discretion of the committee, since I'm not the one who gets the open meeting law complaint.
Okay.
If the
Mike and
committee's
Dave, are you okay with talking about the Fifth Street? We have Mr. McGrath there. I know there was some concerns with it. I want to try to move this forward, whatever way we're moving. If this needs to be delayed, then,
Yeah, so-
and that's why I put it under the upcoming projects.
We're all
Are
set.
you,
Yep, we're all set with that, yep.
okay.
So I don't have a good set of brains on this one. Perhaps if someone could explain to me the issues here briefly, between Bill and myself, we can provide some guidance.
Okay, so the issues at hand, it was my understanding, under, again, the state law and getting bid information, we were asked to give X amount of dollars for the supplies. But I don't know that it was put out to a bid. I don't know from Mr. McGrath, again, where the plan is of what this is going to look like. The Cemetery Commission is in the dark on this one because it was brought to the DPW, which is fine, but we need to intertwine with it. So if we haven't been told what it looks like, what it's gonna, again, we've been told, but we haven't seen the actual project plan. So that is my concern, is making sure we dot our i's and cross our t's, that we don't get into trouble for doing something incorrectly as far as what the violation of the state law allows us to do.
So,
Okay, I'll be right.
my understanding is this is the construction of a stone wall? Is that correct?
It's to put
Yes,
a,
that's my correct, but is Mr. McGrath right there that
He
he
is.
can answer these
he is,
questions?
he's coming up to the mic. And then we're gonna get you back on Zoom shortly.
Okay. Unbelievable.
Thank you. That's okay. Try it. No. it's not.
That microphone is actually more for Pat than it is for broadcasting into the room.
Oh.
So if Mr. McGrath can just speak up, I think we'll
Okay.
all be fine.
Okay.
Richard McGrath, 22 Fishing Lane, Chairman of the Bloomberg Historical Commission. Madam Chair, if I might, may I take a few comments on the Litch Cemetery before I begin with Fish Street?
Which cemetery?
West Street Terrace.
West, oh, okay. Do you hear him, Nancy?
I heard something about, he wants to make a comment about West Street?
Yes.
Yes.
The Arnold Litch Cemetery on West Street Terrace is a 19th century cemetery. There's prominent citizens that were interred there. It was desecrated by a developer in 1953. The gravestones were removed and turned upside down and used as a sidewalk for his house in the development. The Historical Commission, along with the Historical Society, has a detailed plan for restoration and a memorial there. And that was in play at the time that Mr. Bernard found the actual grave site. To Goodrich Cemetery, provided a sketch with the west wall, how that will appear with the gravestones behind. There's a plot plan that shows the existing walls, which would be restored, and 2 new walls that are missing that would encompass the entire cemetery plot and protect it. A new gate, an iron gate with 2 granite pillars would be allow access on the west side. The graves would be a little bit behind that, and the graves all face west. Restoration and scope of work. We would restore the existing east and south stone perimeter walls. We would build 2 new walls on the north and west sides to completely enclose the cemetery plot. New walls will match the existing in style and stone size, so it'll all look like an original wall. We would provide a 6-foot wide entry in the west wall with granite posts and a wrought iron gate, lock and key. We would provide a new marble gravestone and base for the desecrated original Levi Goodrich stone. We would clean and repair and reset existing stones as needed. All work would be documented for the record, and we would hope to have a historical plaque on site describing with who's buried there and what the cemetery is about.
We're trying to get you.
Our feeling
Off mute.
that education, having historical plaques, as long as I
Recording in
can hear.
progress.
and educating the public is the best way to preserve and keep these cemeteries from being vandalized. Any questions?
Yes. Because I'm with Nancy.
Let me try something.
May I, Madam Chair?
Any questions?
Yeah, no questions. I'm very familiar. I'm diagonally across the street, so this looks like a very nice enhancement.
Well,
Mass General Law, Chapter 30B and 149M control of procurement of material and construction projects on public property. Not every project done on public property is necessarily considered construction under the law. For instance, you've been able, as a town, to work out an arrangement with the advocates of skateboarding, to construct the new skate park at Marshall Park without it being deemed public construction and not following under any of these rules. But I would need to understand how this work is being paid for in order to give you proper advice.
The Historical Commission would be providing volunteer help under my supervision for the construction of the stone walls and the gate and the restoration of the gravestones. What we would be looking for from the commission would be, the cemetery commission would be the cost of the stone and the iron gate and a historic plaque.
Well, what is the total cost on that?
I provided that to the commission previously. I don't have that on hand.
Do you recall
No.
ballpark at all, sir?
I don't.
I don't remember, I remember us talking about it. I remember you talking with Bill Tyler regarding it, but I don't have anything on paper to say exactly what the cost is. That's what the cemetery commission needs. I need that spelled out. How much it is for the stone, the iron gate, and whatever, and the plaque.
I can get that.
With that in hand, I could give the commissioners advice as to how to comply with whichever one of the statutes would apply. But I would need, at least a ballpark of what we're talking about. And you say the volunteers would be sponsored by the Historic Commission itself?
Yes.
Okay. Commission or society?
Commission.
Commission, okay. With that material estimate, would there be any other work involved from the public side? Bill, do you have to dig a trench to set a sand bed or do anything to?
Yes.
Yes, so DPW would do that.
Okay. So, once I get that estimate, I can work with Bill, I'll work with Julie, our Chief Procurement Officer, and I can have a response for you. If I'm understanding correctly, you're looking at the possibility of a meeting, perhaps December 19?
We're going to be meeting in January,
Okay.
because it's too close to the holidays.
Sure. So I can certainly have advice for you in writing by that time, provided I can get this other information, let's say within 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that? Is that doable, Mr.
Sure,
McGrath?
yes.
Is that satisfactory to the
What
commission?
about the stone, getting the stone from, it has to be from a company that's already lined up with the town, right?
Not necessarily, it depends upon pricing. That's why I need to understand the material breakdown. So, if we are procuring items, and we're not, so let me start with, you can't just split things up to get around the procurement law. So you couldn't buy half the stone from one company and half the stone from another company to try to skate through the limits. So let me just use some numbers here for a minute. Let us say that the stone is,
I'm trying to remember, I think it was $5,000 for the stone, does that sound familiar?
Don't have that in mind.
well, let's just.
I think that's what you told me before, but that was just the stone, not the gate,
Right.
not anything else.
Right, so let's just say for argument's sake, the stone is 5,000 and the brass plaque is 2,000, that might be low, and the gate is 3,000. So now we have $5,000, $6,000, $10,000. we can purchase, I don't think those three items would be considered together, and you can purchase up to $10,000, and I can't remember if it's $9,999 or $10,000, whether, anyways, by using best business practice. That is defined, not in the statute actually, but by most communities, as doing business with a vendor who perhaps you've had some experience with, is known to provide a quality product at a reasonable price. So you can just simply go do that. Now, let's say that collectively you have to group them together and it becomes $12,500. At that point, we do have to write up a bit of a scope of work, and we email it. 20 years ago I would have said fax, but today we email it, and we await responses. You don't have to get 3 responses, but you do have to seek 3 proposals. And then we get those in, and you sign off on them. So once we know the material list that's needed, I would want to talk with Bill about what his labor is going to be involved. We'll put that together from the procurement side. And then there's kind of a 3-point test that the state applies to, is it a public construction project or not? And you'll have to bear with me, I honestly don't remember what those are right this minute. But it has to do, is it on public land? Is it being done directly by the public entity? And there's some couple of tests they apply. We can get that answer to you for your meeting in January.
Okay, because then we're gonna have to vote if it's over if it's 12,000, do we have it in the budget to do the 12,000, so.
Well, once you know the number, and once we know the number, we can look at how it gets done. That might actually impact the number,
Right,
because there are different rules. It is Massachusetts. As to how things get done. And then, yes, you'd have to look at your existing budget and/or seek funding within your operating budget in fiscal '26, or what I refer to, if I should be with you, capital and special items. So one-time items that aren't necessarily capital, but let's say you need $10,000 for a survey. Well, we don't want to necessarily put that in the operating budget because you're only going to need it once. So we would put that in with those items. But it all starts from knowing what items we're purchasing, how we're doing the job, and what the estimated cost is.
you talked about separating, go ahead.
One point I want to bring up is, and Mr. McGrath, maybe you can answer this, are we going with Lunenburg rocks? Because the town of Lunenburg was built on certain levels of what those rocks look like, and I want to make sure, or at least bring to the board to make it to the vote, is that we are using the assisting look and feel of the town of Lunenburg. As we all know, rocks can quite look differently. What is your thought on that, Mr. McGrath? What was your intent with that, on the rock selection?
I'm not aware of any Lunenburg rock that's available for this. And I found stone that matches pretty well at a reasonable cost that we could use for this project. It would look, my intent would be for it to look pretty much the same as what's there.
Okay.
May I, Madam Chair?
Yes.
So as I'm looking at the Goodrich Cemetery restoration scope of work, what I'm hearing is that in the second dash, in the fourth line, that the chair would be concerned, I'm not trying to speak for the other members, but what I'm hearing is that the chair would be concerned that the new walls will match the existing in style, look, and stone size.
Correct.
Would that be agreeable, that short notation, Mr. McGrath?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect.
I had one idea on rock supply. And that's, and looking at the Parks Commission's posting on Facebook of the old rock domes and all, I don't know what they call it, that they built back in the 1920s. And I looked and I thought I found them, and it looks like in the expansion of the baseball field, a lot of that was just pushed into an embankment. And I'm wondering if there's any economy to recovering stone from that and using it in projects, this project and even throughout Lunenburg, to kind of recycle what people had done 100 years ago. There seems to be a lot of stone there, and I'm wondering if, of course, the Parks Commission may not take my stance, but there seems to be a lot of rock in Marshall Park from these stone projects that are fairly obscure now, or just in rubble or collapsed. and could we go in and retrieve that material?
Don't we have to be careful that that's a historical piece of it or not? Because my understanding is some of those rocks were actually, when the ball field were put together, if I understood it correctly, part of those were buried.
Yeah, there's like an embankment of those rocks there. And I know there was concern that this 100-year-old effort that was done 100 years old, how could you preserve that? And I'm just wondering if, and Nancy's comment about using Lunenburg rock, seems to, we have a lot of rock in Lunenburg, you know. Do people have rock available, or, you know, and on town property?
I might suggest that once you know the method that you have to proceed, any appropriate means of reducing costs and using elements readily available would be welcome by whoever's paying for the project.
Right.
And it is, you know, recycle is not first. First there's reduce, then there's reuse. So, you know, you'd be right in line with the motto of reduce, use, recycle. Obviously, you would need to consult with the Parks Commission, the property owner, the Historic Commission, and once receiving those appropriate sign-offs, I'm sure that Mr. Bernard could work with volunteers, might take a little overtime on a Saturday perhaps, to recover and transit those materials to the site that you're working on.
One thing to consider is quite a few tons of stone in there, so unless you have a pile of stone that you can scoop up and dump in a truck, it would not be more efficient to gather stone than it would be to buy stone and have it delivered.
Yeah, I was thinking you would want to palletize it, move. In Marshall Park, there's a nice asphalt area back in the woods that used to be like the entrance to the track that they used to have.
Yeah.
You could palletize it, move it, and then once you had what you needed for your project, come in and move it to your project site. But
Yeah.
they have a nice big asphalt area that could be
It would definitely be nice to have original stone to the area.
Mr. McGrath, do we know exactly how many pounds, or however you figure this out as being a masonry is how much this is, how much rock you need? I guess that's my question. Do we know that?
I don't have that information with me. I do have that information, though.
Okay. Because I think that's going to tell us, Michael, if they've got enough over there, or if we can work that out. What is your thoughts, you and Dave?
I think the next step would be to have a discussion with the Parks Commission to see if they're even amiable to it.
Okay?
Yep, okay.
I would respectfully suggest that the intermediate step of how we can undertake the project consistent with statute would really be the next step.
So we
Okay.
need to get the pricing first, and then,
Right, and we can have that
Statute.
for you in January.
right,
And then, based upon what that tells us, you could have a meeting with the Parks Commission, the Historical Commission, February, March, and be ready to move forward after mud season.
Does that go in what you're thinking of, Mr. McGrath? Can you move the date out? Like I said, we start it later than I know you would like, but we have to go through this process.
Yes, that would be fine with me.
Okay, that would be wonderful, because we definitely appreciate your help in this, and, your offering as a volunteer to help us with this project. That's wonderful. And kudos to you and all volunteers that, we all try our best to help with volunteering in the town and giving back. So we thank you so much.
You're welcome.
My apologies, but I have a 10 o'clock conference call I need to be on,
Yeah.
so I'm going to have to excuse myself.
okay.
Did we, just Carter, we did everything that we said we were gonna do with you today, correct?
My understanding is that I've been here for the two items that my assistance might be useful on, and that the balance, Mr. Bernard will be more than capable of handling.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for, being at this meeting.
Add the word look.
Oh. In the minutes, add the word look to the new walls.
Okay, so let's go, let's get one item done as far as let's approve the minutes from the January 25th timeframe, so we can get that off our plate, and then we'll get the DPW director to go through some updates and some discussions. Does that sound like a plan?
Are you hearing her?
Yeah, she wants to do minutes.
Okay.
Has everybody read the minutes?
Have you looked at the minutes?
Yes, I wrote them. I hadn't looked at them today, but
Hold on a second, Nancy.
Okay.
I briefly looked over it. Let me just quickly look over it again.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from July 25th, 2024.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye. Motion approved unanimously. Okay, Mr. Bernard, do you want to take up what you would like to discuss? I know you had sent a note to everyone this morning. Is that what you'd like to go over first?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so since the last meeting in July, we've had 9 full burials, 11 cremations. We've been mowing grass all summer. Before the major holidays, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, we had all the grass mowed, a day or two before. I'll give you a summary of the total hours and average hours of how much time we spent mowing and trimming. I guess the gist of it is the North Cemetery was cut 7 times this year, the South was cut 4 times this year, and Fish Street was cut 6 times this year. Takeaway from that is South was only cut 4 times, but because of the drought, the grass just wasn't growing over there. North continued to grow, so we concentrated more over there. So the mowing was completed mostly by the full-time cemetery superintendent, and we had part-time seasonal laborers. We had 4 this year, kind of scattered over time. The first 2 overlapped by only, I think it was 2 days, and then they had to leave, and then we hired 2 more who have been working together, but they were just hired about a month ago. So they did a bunch of trimming, but their efforts are now turned to leaf cleanup. So been doing a lot of leaf cleanup lately. We've been blowing it all into piles. Then Lakeview Landscaping will come in. They have a new vacuum and truck that could suck up all the leaves. So we put it in piles, they come in, suck them all up, and they leave. So that's been working out pretty good. You may have noticed over in the South Cemetery, we ground down 10 old tree stumps. We still need to clean those up. We've cleaned up a few of them, cleaned up all the ground up wood, and then loam and seed over it. There's still a few more to go, so we'll be working on that. I guess that's it for updates.
So I just have one quick question. What is the costing us or you or however this is being looked at for the Lakeview with the vacuum? I think that's a great idea. I'm just asking, what's the cost like for that?
I haven't seen an invoice yet, but because we're doing all the blowing into piles, they're just coming in for an hour or 2, so the cost won't be that much.
Okay.
But
is that falling on you, or are you asking us to pay for that? So that's what I'm asking.
Nope, that's our operational budget, that's my budget.
Okay.
I got a question regarding the leaf blowing, because I went over there last weekend, all the cemeteries, and I see what they're doing there. Put it in like a South Cemetery, they blow it against a stone wall. But I guess my question is, I didn't know that you were going to have Lakeview come in and pick it up, but when are they coming? Because all that stuff is being blown back onto the...
It's mostly new leaves you're seeing, they just keep coming. It's
right.
almost done now, right? We blow them, and then the superintendent calls Lakeview and says, can you come in the next day or 2, and he does. And so it's been working out pretty good.
Okay, so the stuff that's in the new section we're proposing, that's going to be picked up also? Because that's going to be blown, it's going to come right back into the cemetery again.
Right, we actually had Department of Corrections crew in for 2 days, and they concentrated on acorns. There was, I'm sure you noticed, acorn explosion this year, I guess
Yeah.
we'll call it. And so they were concentrating on that, and they were gonna try to get into the new expansion area, get the acorns there, because there's millions of them.
But the leaves are in the new area.
Yeah.
They're all piled up, and I'm concerned that they're going to get blown back, which makes more work for you guys to pick it up again. So
Right.
is Lakeview being called in this week, you think, or next week? Or because if they're next week, you guys are going to be...
Well, luckily, there's a stone wall there to stop most of them from blowing over, but, yeah, that's the last area we're concentrating on. So,
Okay.
try to get the main parts of the cemetery first, and then that'll be the last area.
Okay.
So my understanding is, again, you get them all in the piles, and then are they brought in, do you call them and they come in within 2 days? Is that how that normally works, Mr. Bernard?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
How about we allocated funds for trimming the shrubs at South Cemetery? They look good, but I don't know if they've been trimmed or not.
The
They
front,
were,
The front shrubs,
the front's being done by Lakeview.
and that's been
we've already
completed.
done it.
Okay, yeah, no, they
Yeah.
look good, so I just,
Yeah, Lakeview's going to take care of the shrubs in South Cemetery from now on.
and then the,
Because what happened in North Cemetery,
yeah, no, I'm just wondering, we allocated to do that, and it's been completed. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they came in a few months ago, they gave me their time frame when it should be done. I think we were pretty much on time on that, and they came in, and then we voted on it, and then they've already been paid.
Okay. And then the lights, flagpole lights?
So I was tried to get the electrician in there to do it, and he was busy, he didn't get in there. And then a month or so ago, I was told to stop all projects. So that it's on hold now. I was told by the interim town manager, who was, I believe, told by the cemetery commission.
No, that was to do, yes. We were discussing the Fish Street. So and yes, I believe that the interim had said stop all projects, but I guess we didn't realize that was stopping that. I didn't realize that piece of it. So I'll have to ask Carter if we can open that up to get that. Can he finalize it now if the town manager says okay to that?
Are you asking if the electrician can get in there
Yeah.
now? Yeah, he should be able to. If you give me
All right.
the go-ahead, I'll contact him and get him in there.
Again, I don't think it was us per se. I need to understand that conversation that Carter and I had and make sure, again, that I'm not stepping on his toes, because there may have been another reason that he said that. So I just want to clarify that with the town manager. I will take that on myself to clarify it, and I will send a note out. How does that sound?
That works for me.
And the
Now,
last,
does that also mean with the skirt too that's in South Cemetery? I think, Michael, you were probably going to bring that up, right?
well, that was just my last question. How's that progressing?
What's that?
The concrete skirt at the South Cemetery with the bench. I see benches there. I see
Yeah.
some piles of,
Yep, we were ready to go. We were actually a day away, and I was told by the interim town manager to stop all projects, so it was put on
oh,
hold.
okay.
All right, I will get clarification on that one too,
Okay.
and send out a note. I'll send out a note as soon as we get off this meeting, and then maybe we can get clarification either today or tomorrow. How does that sound?
That works for me?
Okay, is that okay with both you and Dave and Michael on that?
That's fine with me, yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be going ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
If I can bring up one more topic while DPW's here, is, and I know the commission hasn't talked about it yet, but the North Cemetery, all the shrubs, or no, they're not called, the trees that were cut, and now we got stubs that are just there. I'd like to have some sort of a plan to get those out for the next year. But just something we can talk about at another meeting, but I just wanted to bring it up so that it doesn't look the way it is. And it's going to have to come out eventually if we talk about a stone wall again, but let's just start the process anyways. It just doesn't look good. So just I wanted to bring it up as a topic for a next meeting, just so you know that we need to discuss it.
okay. I think my main concern, and this is my own personal opinion as cemetery commission chair, is in the winter, as far as with those roads, if those roads get icy and you don't have the protection, not that it's gonna totally stop a car, but if we take those trees out, those roots and stuff now, yes, you're right, it doesn't look okay in there, I get it, but we're trying to protect the cemetery as best we can with the situation that we were left with. So with that being said, I think the protection are kind of those roots. Does anyone else have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think, like Dave mentioned, coordinate with the installation of the wall, what goes with aesthetically removing some of those and, you know, match the wall to the removal of the shrubs, and there you have your barrier again.
Yeah, we
Right,
need a
that-
barrier, it's just that we tried the wall, and then we might have to try it again. I don't know if it's gonna be a wall, or if it's gonna be,
Right.
if it's gonna be
Maybe,
trees again, or
yeah.
what, but, I mean, we tried it, and we can always try it again another year, but no matter what we put in, those stubs have to come out.
Yeah, I agree.
So, we need to discuss, and if it's the DPW that takes it out, or if, because you're taking out other stuff now, right? Weren't you working on, I thought I read someplace you were working on taking some stubs out.
Right, in the South Cemetery, there was
Cemetery.
trees removed here and there, about 10 trees, and we ground down those stumps.
Ground them down.
Yeah.
You didn't take them out. Okay. But do you have the machine and the power to take out stubs? Because
Yeah.
if we put a stone wall in, or if we put trees in, those stumps can't stay there, they gotta come out.
Eventually they will, yes.
Okay, so you have the machine or the power, okay,
Yes.
good.
Mr. Bernard, can I ask what trees were taken out in South Cemetery? Are we talking big trees, or are we just talking the existing and you were just getting the stumps out of there?
It was existing stumps, trees that were cut, some of them
Okay.
years ago, so,
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Okay.
yeah, we didn't cut anything new.
Okay. Now, I also noticed on that, I know it's a topic, the Rainmaker professional license. We have to vote on that today. I have promised Rainmaker, where they have given us some time to be into Rainmaker, and that I make a motion that we vote that we go forward in getting the license for the Cemetery Commission. Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
Yes, where is the, is this on a central server and you access into it? I'm just wondering, once you get the license, where is it going to be loaded? Or is it just?
It's in the cloud.
It's in the cloud.
It's in the cloud. Oh, okay, so you go on through the cloud, and so you just need to pay this, so they toggle an extra license,
Correct.
and you're good.
Correct.
Okay.
We have under the DPW license of it, which the Cemetery Commission has always paid for, has put that through. When we first did the upgrade, we were asked to, and we still hold that, and I suggest that we continue to hold it, that the DPW will have their license, we'll have ours, they intertwine. The DPW, it has the burial search, the public burial search, that sits on that area so that the public can go in and see if they, want to go see where their loved ones are, if, again, they're wherever they sit or wherever they're from. And then we have an annual maintenance of it. And ours is going to be a one-time setup, which the cost will pay it once, and then you will have the normal fee of the prorated right now is $225, which is the additional license. It's usually $300, but they prorated it because we didn't use it, all year, so on and so forth. So I think the total amount was $1,825, so $1,825, and again, this will be on our side.
With our license, we're gonna be able to pinpoint if, someone is, deceased and in a plot, we can just go? Okay. Then I make a motion that we accept these two licenses and pay Rainmaker a total of $1,825.
I'll second it.
Madam Chair, before you vote, may I speak?
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the license you're asking for, is that to see the back end stuff, the death certificates and whatnot?
Yes.
Okay, so
They
this
also
has been
show-
brought up in multiple commission meetings. You've been told multiple times that that's part of operations, which is on the DPW. You've been told by the prior town manager that you are not to have access to that. So why now are we here again? You're trying to get access to it.
Mr. Bernard, I'm going to bring this up again once, is that you have stated under your personal piece, I will discuss this again. We are going to vote on this because of the fact that Rainmaker has given us the opportunity with this. We've had this and we've told you going forward that we are going forward with this. No one, like I said, the town manager that was here before is no longer here in the town. I listened to Carter. If this needs to be told by Carter, that's fine, but we are going forward with voting on this today.
Well, I can't stop you from voting, but I will speak with the
Exactly.
interim town manager about it.
And I will be speaking with him also. And if that needs to be a three-way conversation, because again, we are the ones that started this process before you ever came to this town, Mr. Bernard. And we are the ones that put all of this together. And now all of a sudden, you've decided, or whoever has decided, DPW, that we're no longer to be able to see things that we've always seen. So I'm not sure where this is coming from, but again, we're going to vote on this, that we are getting the license to keep this going forward, and we are the ones that pay for it, and will continue to do so.
Okay, it's my understanding you never had the license to see the back end stuff.
Excuse me? That's not true. Okay, so, would someone like to make a motion to vote?
We already voted.
You already
Oh, yeah,
motioned.
sorry.
Well, we didn't-
My
We made the
apologies.
motion, but we haven't approved.
Could we modify the motion to approve the funds, but have the procurement contingent on the discussion with the town manager?
Well, I wouldn't put that in there because
I
when
disagree.
when she discusses it with him, whichever way, we're either gonna go through with it or not. If he says no, then, you know,
Okay,
if
so
he
you're
says yes.
gonna leave him as the stopgap? That
Yes,
he
yeah.
has the
The
authority to
chairperson's gonna
say,
talk
well,
to
wait
him.
a second, you,
Yeah,
for death certificates and all.
I
Is that
don't
like having
believe,
access to people's birth certificates or social security numbers? Is that what we
I
really
personally
need
just
to
think
see?
I think we need to be able to see who's buried where, and DPW does the maintenance of the cemeteries, and he's responsible to plot the people into Rainmaker, okay? But if we want to be able to see, instead of asking, you know, a question, if we want to be able to go in and say, is this plot filled, is there a person buried in this plot, or is it vacant? We as a commission should be able to do that without,
And you can now. Anybody can.
Right.
It's on the
Right.
website. Anybody could see that.
so we
So
should
why do you
have
need another license? You can already see that.
So I can, which website?
The-
Like if I go to the,
Go to the town's website, go to Cemetery Commission. Right, there's a couple links there, one for north, one for south.
okay. There's map, North Cemetery
Yeah,
map, south.
that's it,
Oh, well, yeah, I've looked at that.
Okay.
yeah.
yeah. You can click on any plot, it'll tell you the name of the person there.
Oh, okay, okay.
So we made a motion already.
But it's
Just hasn't
just a
been-
location. We can't print a report on how many burials by month or, I'm not familiar with the software.
Neither can we.
yes, we can.
How-
Under
how-
that license, yes, we can. And that's the piece, again, just so Mike, you know, and Dave, I know you know, is we have, the Cemetery Commission has always driven this forward, has always had this ability. So with that being said, behind the scenes, before you ever came, Mr. Bernard, I was looking at things also with Mr. Tyler, which was the Cemetery Commission Chair. So there is nothing that we've done any different than we've always done. So therefore, that's why I'm bringing this forward, that we will have our own license. There should not be a problem, and you really shouldn't be on that piece of it. So that's why I made the motion to go forward to pay Raymaker for the license they have allowed us to have, free of charge for some time, to look at everything, and I want this legal with a license, and that's why I'm bringing this forward.
Okay. I've been on the board for 4 years now, and with the previous chairperson, Bill Tyler, we always had access to it, okay, and we paid for it. So it's nothing against you guys having it, it's just that we should be able to have one also. So I'm making the motion that we go through with it, and that we have the licenses totaling $1,825.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Yeah,
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Voted anonymously.
Next.
Mr. Bernard, is there anything else you would like to bring up?
On that subject, other than, no, I'm just gonna talk to the interim town manager and make sure he's okay with it.
No. Yep, and I will be doing the same.
yeah.
Okay.
Is there anything else that we need to discuss today? Mike and Dave? Or Bill?
Hi.
Mr. Bernard?
You do have other agenda items.
I propose, Madam Chairman, that we, because we're going to be losing one of our members very shortly in a couple of minutes, that we postpone to the next meeting, whatever else, what we have on the agenda, unless you see something that's urgent. Mike?
No,
Okay.
I thought we covered this.
Anything you feel urgent, Madam Chairman?
No, but Mr. Bernard, is there something that you feel is urgent?
Nope, nothing urgent on my end.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move the other items to the next meeting.
To the next meeting, which is gonna, hold on one second, tentatively set for the fourth week, it'll be January 23rd.
All right, is that date good for everyone, January 23rd?
Mike?
Yeah, I think so. I'll probably zoom in.
You're gonna be out of town?
Yeah, I'll probably, I'm gonna be out of town, but
What about the week before?
I'll be out for the whole month of January.
Oh, okay.
All right, we'll tentatively put that in, and we'll make sure. Is that fine with you, Mr. Bernard?
Yep, I'll put it on my schedule.
Perfect.
Now, this December 3rd meeting, is that gonna be a joint meeting at the select board, or is that just invite and,
Can you check on that, Madam Chairman, because...
Yes, I will.
If we go there, it might be against the open meeting law.
No, we may have to do a two-part to that, so we may have to adjourn with the select board.
Okay,
If you have a quorum, you should have it posted.
yeah.
I understand, that's why I said we'll have to
Yeah.
work along with the select board as far as doing one with them. And I will find that out to make sure that we do that legally.
Thank you.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Aye. All right,
thank you.
thank you very much.
Yep. Have a good one.